at the very top right here on the back. Yeah, a whole lot of nothing. So I'm usually, by the way, I'm your biggest skeptic. So you guys like to search things and say you will get out, and you're going to toggle that thing around, and then I'll do a round robin with everybody and take a few notes, and then bring us to the back to reveal all of the answers and show you how it all ties together. So, where the heck are you? You're in a parking lot. Congrats, you made it. I told you, I take you to some weird spots. This place used to be something. So, by the way, communication devices, word list, Ouija boards, spirit boxes. This is where I start withholding information on purpose. I will not be giving you questions here like what color was George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the big red barn. You will be getting the answers from your communication devices. So, this place used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion. The mansion sat in the front of the space, facing East Bay Street. Eliza, everybody watch the car move towards me. There's only one way in and out of this place for vehicles to move. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across. And we are standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. That's the layout of the land. So, who the heck were Charles and Eliza? They had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 Chucks in case nobody was paying attention. It's exactly why we look for secondary clues. I need to know in the event that Abby hears the name Charles, which one it is, and hopefully it's going to be a secondary clue to come from another communication device so I know how to address them. Moving on. The son and the nephew, signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. Big deal for us in South Carolina, but I hate politics more than all of you combined, especially after the news we've been getting over the past few weeks. Yes, absolutely. We're going to move on. If I don't give the gentleman their recognition for signing the Constitution, they will do it for me in a nasty manner on a spirit box. So I just make sure I give them the recognition, we move on. Let's talk about Eliza instead. Much better story. Eliza marries Charles at a young age according to today's standards. I say it slowly because if you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, do not expect numbers like from the colonial days that she came from, like 12 and 14 when young ladies got married. Think of today's standards when people get married because the husband was over double her age when they married. It was creepy then, it's creepy now. I'm just going to put that out there. Now, she married him because her father was over in England. I really hope that guy is not.
Then get back.
Can I get back up here?
Yeah, you broke it. You guys closed it with me before when you guys were asking your questions. She married him because her father was over in England and he thinks he's dying. He's trying to bring all of his kids home one last time so he could see him. Eliza didn't believe he was dying, so instead she stayed put right here, got married. Well, 1742. Do not get married in that particular year to earn a green card. We're not a country yet. So she didn't marry him out of love. This is a true love story. There is nothing horrific about this location. If anything, it is a place of respect. So as we kind of explore the space, just remember when you're asking your own questions, just be respectful at this location, please. All activity will stop if you're not. Moving on. She was correct. Dad did not die right away. Instead, he started sending her gifts from England to where you're standing. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. That's a plant that makes blue dye that makes your blue jeans blue. I don't think anybody... Oh, wait. So Melissa's got it on because that's how we use it today. When Eliza got her seeds, no idea what to do with it. She had to learn from her servants and slaves how to keep it going. And then she moved it over to a cash crop, got a whole... Nice. So that's your new baseline. Don't give me anything below that 12.7. Perfect. So then she learned how to make the dye at this location, moved to a cash crop, got a hold of her father, and told him that the rice plantations were going downhill, and that they were going to make a killing with the indigo. And now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times, something absolutely unheard of. That's the boring business stuff of Eliza. Let's get into the weird stuff, because that's why you guys are all here. I like to always give you guys at least a heads up on who we're actually trying to hunt down. What's going to happen is all the communication devices, I'm going to give you a set of focus questions. Remember that if you're asking a question, she might get the answer. We never know where it's going to fall. Even if there was just 2 of you here, we always use 2 communication devices. Always. So here's how this is going to work. So with yours, Melissa and Karen, yours? right, what are we ready for? I don't know where that's from. Yeah. What was the number again? 3.1. Listen in on that because that's not an easy one to do. And you
Should we be asking questions?
You can't out loud, where you can just focus on that. So obviously we have things going on around the marriage with you. So I did kind of assign that to you, based on what happens in the mansion, and that's kind of after marriage questions. So I'm not surprised that you did get the anniversary. So I'm going to verify it. I'm going to give you that link. That's exactly what well, again, showing it to me changes. So you know, we're creating interviews. So yeah, I'll take the 1944. I have to take your word for it. Nice. What do you got?
I got another 20 minutes.
What do you think that number is?
I don't know. Can I ask how old was she when she died? And then, like, a minute later.
She was somewhere. Little things, but these are giving me the right numbers. Bringing them off. That's good. I think the trouble with that believe it or not. Greg, with that camera, it's brand new. I'm still learning about it. I wait for the bigger like south side. Putting it down. Here to get more numbers. Nope, nothing yet. Rick, how you doing on that cam? Figuring it out. It shows the coldest spot in the front. So that's why I moved around. That's 67 below is right. For ambient yeah, that blue line was right. Beautiful. There we go. The battery should be dead by the time we're done here. Doc took him up on the chopper, and he's now staying with Ralph's friends at 59 Church Street. And Doc started his medical practice down here. He's making his own money. Amanda gets wind of this. She's moving down so they can be married. Dr. Ladd has been known as the whistling donkey. This is the reason why I think the damn story is because it's a giant cliche. No matter where you go, Haunted City, they're going to have a cliched whistling ghost. We all have one. Ours just happens to be a doctor. Anyway, Dr. Ladd and Ralph go see plays together. They can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's the hierarchy of Charleston. He gets better seats. So they go see plays, and they go see Richard III, and they're walking home one night, and Dr. Ladd thought the new actress they just saw was fantastic. Ralph didn't. They start arguing. Then it turns into Ralph insulting the doctor's fiance, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. It got really ugly. They go their separate ways. So Ralph goes to his friends at the newspaper and places an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of he's a disgrace to society kind of mentality. Doc saw this ad and rebutted with, let's go to Julie Alley. Somebody's going to die. Keep in mind, this argument started over an actress. I just like to point things out that things can be really dumb back in the 1700s. So, the two gentlemen came down here back to back. They took the cases away from each other. They turned. Doc points his gun in the air. He shoots his one bullet. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted the courage and bravery to show up to the fight. So Ralph has his one bullet still. He puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Doc didn't die. He fell to the ground. Friends picked him up, took him home to 59 Church Street. He died 10 days later, November 2nd of 1786, after refusing medical treatment. Let me point out two things about that last statement. It's 1786. Gunshot wounds were a lot different back then than what we know of them now. Secondly, he was also a doctor. He probably just thought he had lead poisoning and tried to bleed it out himself. Obviously, he failed. Now, because he died only 10 days later. Every tour that comes down here, including the two you just saw, told their guests to listen for the whistles. We have 3 cameras plus my voice recorder running right now. If we're going to get a disembodied whistle, more than likely going to come up on one of those 4 devices. However, on Bella's device, I can't tell you how many times I caught in my spot checks, not looking for it, the whistling part of a song, and then the word doctor immediately afterwards from a commercial. Dozens upon dozens of times. This guy actually has a code word to let me know that he's hanging around. I'm not going to tell anybody what that code word is, just in case you guys hear it along our way. I'll then let you know what that code word is. So it's a very odd word that you wouldn't normally hear on the radio. Now, if you're going to try listening for those whistles on your own, I can't take you all the way through here. I've been kicked out of this space. So let me explain why. That's the fun part of the story. All the adults are looking at me like, why are you telling all of these kids how you keep getting your ass in trouble? I know, right? So, well, by the way, if you're going to do this on your own, just remember that every local knows the story. That's why I thought when you lived here, like, how do you not know the story? Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street, we all throw a whistle down this alley. It's just something we do here in Charleston. Just kind of keep that in mind if you actually have to whistle in the recordings. But this alley, there was a wall up there before it was Mueller's Alley. And that was the reason they kept this closed off, because this is where they kept the livestock for the city of Charleston. It was called Cow Alley back then. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because they started down by Queen Street and started moving their way forward. That's where we're standing. Well, that means those bricks down there by Queen are older than the ones you're standing on. Those are sun-dried bricks from slave children. There's a full handprint from a slave child in one of those bricks down there, and some fingerprint swipes and others. I used to take my groups all the way down there for a history lesson. There's nothing paranormal about that piece of history. That's the last place you're going to find that kid. You guys already know how I feel about cemeteries, so why would I take you around that brick looking for ghosts? That kid's not there. November 26th, 2020, I took my entire group down there, and they're all huddled around that brick waiting for something to happen. I was just pointing it out so we can continue moving forward. Well, we stopped right outside the dining room window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. That new owner came out screaming. my daughter thought it was hysterical because her father's getting yelled at, so he's at work, and she was on the tour that night. We just moved on. So we just kind of got away from him, and the next day was Thanksgiving. I don't work on holidays, especially Thanksgiving, because I worked in upper management for Walmart, and you guys all fight over towels on Thanksgiving. So I don't work on Thanksgiving anymore. The next day, I called my partner, and it was November 28th, that I had at the time that brought me into tourism, and I told him what happened so I could figure out what to do next. He laughed at me, just like my daughter did, and said, dude, you're only allowed to go down halfway. It's residential past that. We route your group. Well, normally I would tell you guys a story up and around the corner about pirates. And what I told my group that night was, I don't get into pirates and into vampires. So we're going to see what happens. But before we left, somebody in the spirit box heard the name Anne. I didn't tell them which pirate we were going to be looking into. The female pirate, Anne Bonny. So I was kind of like, okay, maybe we'll get something. Took them up around the corner, told them what I knew about pirates in Charleston. Wasn't much, but I did it anyway. Somebody else heard the number 300. No clue what it meant. Wrote it down. I did the research for them the next morning. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact same date, 300 years later, November 28th of 2020. So I was kind of like, okay, guess I'm going to be doing a pirate story.
His stomach was dizzy.
You okay, buddy? We need to get out of here. It's pretty warm down here.
Greg, give me your water. You got your water?
Yeah, we're about to wrap this up. So let's go ahead and we can get him out of here if that's okay.
Do you see that? Oh, that. Can you drink some? His meter's jumping up, keeps jumping up.
How high is it going?
It's like it jumped to a 3.8 while ago, and then it's bouncing around.
Yeah, right here. You okay, man? Yeah, it gets pretty warm down here pretty fast.
Is she okay? Can you sit down?
You want to sit down?
You can sit down there on the steps.
Yeah,
I mean, just sit there and rest a minute.
Coming through right here. Yep, sit down.
He looks like he's about to.
Yeah, he does look a little wobbly.
Your sea legs from this morning.
He's had a long day from what you guys told me. So what we're going to be doing next, just so you guys know, Greg's camera is going to be the focus because we're looking for an apparition. So at this particular cemetery we're going to, I'll obviously give you guys the history of that space, and then we'll spend about 5 to 7 minutes getting some actual footage while everybody listens to their spirit boxes, including yours, while we're up there. It is kind of like the last stop for every other ghost tour, so we may have to wait our turn, but luckily for you guys, it's Sunday night. We probably won't have to. I'll explain our last 2 locations after that because they're completely different than what we've been doing this entire night, just so you guys know. So how's your battery life looking on your camera now, Greg?
2 bars.
2 bars, yeah. We're going to swap you out when we get up and around the corner. Anything being heard on your spirit box over there, Miss Bella? Nothing? I know you were on mute, so when we start moving again, obviously unmute. Are we okay to go ahead and try to move him so we can get him out of this hot alley?
Gary,
Yep.
let's get out of this alley.
Go, buddy.
Get out of this alley. I mean, he's looking pretty pale. I want to get him out of this heat. Pause it and... So, cameras come right up to the gate. I'm going to move you guys front and center. So for your bed, the sign is literally right in front of you. You might want to get a shot of that first, like down below you. It says there's no ghost here besides the Holy Ghost. And then your apparition that you guys are looking for is right near her grave. So her grave is, you see the cross in the back? Her grave's to the left of that and one more row back. So Greg, did you find out where the zoom is on there?
Yep.
Yeah, zoom right in on there, see what you can get with yours. Try to hold it as still as possible, obviously, because there's so many layers that are in there. We'll get about 5 to 7 minutes worth of footage while we're here. Spirit boxes, feel free to start listening in. So go ahead and unmute yours. I'm going to bring up this photograph so you guys can all see it. As soon as I find it. Perfect. So there is the full apparition that we took, the full picture. The apparition is right here. You're looking at a woman's back with a baby basket next to her. That is her grave right there. You guys kind of chime in on this as well. So this is the full picture that he took. Her apparition is right here. Looking at her back, she's praying over her own grave with the baby basket right next to her. Pretty crazy stuff, huh? Okay. And then apparition is right here, her back, and she was actually on the other side of her grave, like looking this way, and that's the baby basket next to her. Kind of keep in mind everything I told you about George Pinkney as well, the baby that didn't have a grave. The baby could be buried with mom here, even though the baby was stillborn. So I don't know how they dealt with that type of situation back then. But again, it's a possibility. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you, because the records were all destroyed. I did look for them. And every tour like fights for this location. You hearing anything at all?
I got you caught.
I like it. You got anything? You got the SH? Right down. Caught me. That's a good one. See why I don't like to take 20 people out at a time? You guys hear that tour guide walking by? I always forget to turn off that extra light, and then it burns up in my pocket. That light that Greg's using. It gets so hot. Quit running my chest. What's that? That's something. So, just so you guys know, the anniversary of this is June 16th of that's her death date of when the apparition was caught. So I decided, anybody remember what June 16th was this year? What holiday it was? Fathers? In the room? Anybody? Yes, there you go, Father's Day. So it was a Sunday this year. So I decided, because I don't work on holidays, right? So I came down the night of the 15th after my tour, and I finished up all their data, and I came down here with, the other infrared camera that I was using. I poked it right through the gate. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I hear this. Hey, just a key jingle, and then a hey. There's nobody around. It's a Sunday morning. I'm looking around, got nobody. I had to pull my camera out just in case there was somebody monitoring the grounds, in case they don't want guys like me trying to, recreate what happened. Which, by the way, that light off there to the left was put there purposely to try to deflect the cameras from recreating. It's supposed to create a light flare. You get that as a photographer, right?
Yep.
So kind of give this another minute or two.
Is it quiet and dead down here at 3 in the morning?
Oh yeah, yeah. I walk around the city all the time with this camera. It's just like randomly
Nobody
looking for
around,
new spaces
everybody's
or
there.
doing TikToks or whatever I'm doing. Social media marketing is kind of how I keep everything grassroots for myself. So if I gotta walk around with a crazy camera at 3 in the morning, I'll do it.
Yep.
Nothing going on the Ouija board over there?
Alright.
How's the word list coming? What we got?
Question, concern, and again.
If we get our initials, we got our dates. Nothing else came up on that guy either.
I got none of them really clear.
Heard none of them were clear.
Really clear. Like,
Oh, you haven't heard anything that's been clear. Okay. Yeah, we'll give this like another minute or two.
That's the tree. It's been doing
Yep.
it the whole time.
Who's got this?
Now there was a blip
Where?
right there in the center where we're looking.
Okay.
2 blips right now. No, it's right in the center where the cross was. Full body for 1 second.
Oh, that's good. Especially since you've been holding it that still.
That's what I do.
I was gonna say, Greg might have a job with me later, whether he likes it or not, because he's got some good footage going too. It's got a little bit of a glimmer, but it might be some of the dots from your camera, because it does spray out that LiDAR technology in order to create it. I think we're getting some of the. You see what I'm talking about, Greg? Right there. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, I got a blip to look for. That's cool. I like
2
blips.
of them, right? Yep. And about, it was about from the top of the cross down to the, double that size, really.
Okay.
Tall.
So a pretty decent height reference then
Yeah.
for an actual person to be back there.
I
7?
got 7. I got
7, 7?
no,
Just 7.
I got
Oh, you got shushed? Lost my page.
Another blips in the middle here.
Andrew? Violent regulation.
I saw it. Just there
Yeah.
a second.
I'll see
It
it.
said, "Are you uninvited?"
Okay, Sue. We're gonna wrap it up, Sue. Last second. Cameras on 3, 2, 1. I always count them down, so go ahead and hit. No.
Wait, is this the graveyard that we saw earlier?
It's a different one.
Yeah. Very clear. Wherever you point the microphones, is where you're going to get the most sound. So if the part is too noisy for you, point it towards the belly, and obviously it'll muffle the sound away from the part a little bit. What we're going to do is focus. It's already recording. Just listen in and hear any voices that are not ours. So that top button on the left column, there's only 2 columns.
Okay.
That's the power button. That'll, if you just tap it, it just moves it back over.
All right.
All right. So, what did we get out of yours, Abby?
I got hay.
Okay.
Just hay. 7.
7 again. Oh, did you get anything else besides all the church stuff? So she's hearing a lot of church, like religious type phrases. That's common on a Sunday night in the Holy City. So I don't write any of that stuff down. It's kind of irrelevant. So here's how this one goes. This is you already know I have my limits. I was taking it a lot further. 2 more blocks down the road is where a murder happened on November 1st of 1933. A woman felt it. This is only 90 years old compared to the 17 and 1800 stuff that we've been discussing all night long. But a woman fell to the ground and started screaming in pain. A man hit me. I know I'm going to die. That's what she's saying over and over and over again. Well, everybody's a gentleman back then. And somebody drove by and seen that there was a woman on the ground. They stopped to help her. And he can't figure out what's going on with this woman either. So he basically helps her into his car and takes her down to the hospital. That's where MUSC sits now, but it was St. Croker's back then. A couple miles from there. Takes her down there, she has a doctor. The doctor's name is Dr. James Avery Finger. It's a funny name, but we've had all 3 parts of his name while we've been here. The doc can't figure out what's going on with her, and the woman dies on his table. Her name is Mary Ravenel. He came over here from Mount Pleasant. He came over here to that giant bridge. That's the Ravenel Bridge. If you watch Southern Charm, the Ravenel family is a character on that show. So it kind of gives you an idea of where the name came from. Anyway, the Ravenels are a very prominent family. So the doctor couldn't figure out what was going on with the woman that died, so he sends her over to the coroner in autopsy, and the coroner finds a scrape underneath her arm, and then a bullet hole inside of her ribcage. She died of a 38. The bullet went all the way through her chest and killed her slowly. Now, here's what we know. I know, very weird story. You're looking at me in shock. Very weird story because when somebody picked her up and took her to the hospital, the shooter got away. He have no idea who he is to this day. It's a cold case. Like, still don't know who Archie is or who the hell this person was that shot him. There's no gunpowder residue on the body. The backlight screen. No gunpowder residue on her body, and all of her passions literally were intact. This woman was not wrong. So, she's 64 years old. She's a widow. She's from a Ravenel family. Her husband is John Ravenel. She's from Detroit, Michigan. I want you guys to all kind of think of this for a second, that a northerner married into a southern family, and the southerner died. How do you think that southern family feels about a northerner taking over the southern money? Not very good. That's my assumption. I can't prove any of it. I just like to get your wheels spinning. So, with this particular location, what would you ask this woman to try to come and talk to us through Melissa's ears? What questions would you ask? Oh, I told you guys those quiz. Right there. Who are you? Okay, we can prove that. That's good. So if she says her name, we know it's her. That's good. I like it. Well, you guys all watch Law and Order. Come on, somebody's got a question. Who shot you? Who shot you? Okay. How did you die? There's some things we can prove, some things we can't. Did you know the person? That's a common question I get asked you guys.
Why were you shot?
Why were you shot? Was there a motive? Okay. So I want you guys to keep in mind, even though you're asking me the question, you're literally asking Mary. The point I'm trying to prove here is your TV shows will come up with a game plan in one part of their haunted space, and then they turn around and scream to their ghost. Is anybody here that wants to talk to us? And it's unnecessary. The ghost can hear you. So just like this, talk to your ghost as if they're a person, because they want to work. So that's kind of how I treat this. Basically, you're literally asking these questions face to face in hopes that she's going to answer them and listen to yours. That's the whole point of this. You just treat it just like a person. And these are great questions. So let me tell you what we've caught so far while you guys are spinning your wheels on other questions. So far, I've been telling this is a new space for this year. Again, I've only done this during the week. So first time, well not first time, a couple of weeks after we got started with this, somebody heard something in real time, meaning the person listening raised their hand and said, I just heard a female voice. It was a perfectly quiet, random Wednesday, and I went back into the office and verified it. And the voice says, help, help. Real time, when the person raised their hand, I did send one of you around the corner to look for people, and of course we scoured around looking for people around that could have said something. Nobody around. A couple of weeks later, we get another voice. Same thing. The listener heard, I heard a voice. Sounded like a female. Looked around, nobody around. Go back to the office. The voice said, help me, I have fallen. Great thing about this whole scenario is it's the same damn voice. I have the keyword of help, and I can actually look at the audio base and compare the two of them. It's the same damn voice, guys. Again, I can't make this stuff up. I wish I could. Sorry, motorcycle friends. Yeah, that'd be horrible. That's why I don't do it on the weekend, because this whole corner is covered in motorcycles. And you have the clock box and paragraph for with this particular location and what we're doing here, I have some mumbles. Like, I don't count mumbles. I can't make them out. But I also, any other major questions you would ask before I show you why I tell this story? Welcome back to the story guide. I'm here talking. Sorry, that's just for me, so I don't count them as a ghost later. I do listen to this recording from start to finish. So it's the one thing I don't spot check. I actually listen to it. Again, it's the first thing I do while everything's uploading. What other questions will we ask? We got anything else? It's okay if you don't. I know this is a tough one. Alright, so let me tell you why I tell this story. So I just told you I'm about to blindfold some people and put somebody else into virtual reality. One night, we're doing our little... When they were asking questions? Of course, if it's truly there, I'll find it. Because again, I listen to the whole damn thing. And again, I wince when I get motorcycles in the office too. So you know, if I'm listening to this and that motorcycle goes by, I'm like, oh, that was a motorcycle. Because again, I crank it all the way up as hard as I can, so that way I can find whatever's in that. So this is a very. By the way, if you guys do watch the Ghost Hunting. Okay, he's way too loud. Henry? Oh. I got two ladies on the bench right now, and I'm setting up the blue box for you to use. It looks like we're seeing some things in some of the other boxes where we can see things. But this is Bella and Abby. So just look straight ahead. And if it's blurry in there, your focus is right here. So just move it until it's nice and clear for you. There you go. Look straight ahead, it'll line up with you. Henry?
Chair on your lap.
Henry, let's talk about your work. Let's kind of get right into it.
It's still like blurry and I keep moving it. I guess that's okay.
It won't always be like super close. Henry, we're using the blue box as well.
Quit acting foolish.
I'm not the one acting foolish. Are you okay in there, Abby?
Yeah,
Some people get really nervous. Henry, show us an image of your last page that you ever wrote. Can you give us that? Can you give us an image of something that would be descriptive towards your last page that you wrote? I've never asked you for this.
Sand, white dots.
Okay, and look, it's going to generate for a second. So, but it
Maybe
looks-
bright white rocks. I don't know. It's very almost.
okay, so we got sand, white rocks maybe. Henry, I'm not understanding this image. Can you tell us what that's supposed to be? Tell Bella what it's supposed to be so she can tell us. Oh, she got super quiet all of a sudden. Henry,
These responses.
who's responses? Henry,
Jesus one.
we got all of these boxes out here tonight. You can feel free to use any of them. But we would prefer if you would use the two girls on the bench to be able to portray the message you'd like to send us. So that's about your work one more time before I move on to a different topic. Henry, can you tell us about the last page you wrote? Maybe the nickname of that last page? Henry? There's that Ouija board coming. I hear all kinds of things going.
You won't have it not spelling nothing.
Okay,
In
Karen,
the dark.
Karen, you got anything?
Just resent
Representative.
an employee.
This guy's not always happy about me being here. Just
Yeah,
gonna
well.
put that out there. It's not harmful, but he's never happy about me poking the bear like this. Henry, we're just looking for verification that you're clear. If you brought somebody else, let us know. And Dr. Ladd, if it's you, you know your code word. That code word is purple for everybody else that needs to know. So if Bella says purple,
Hard.
Last one.
is it difficult for you to come through? That's a yes/no question. Henry, who else came here with you?
Nice house.
Nice house. Did you go to a nice house?
Member of the family.
Did you go to a nice house to write that last page? You can give us an image. Maybe we'll understand that better. We wanted to act like a ghost. Henry, another image would be fantastic. Can you help us out? It's super antsy. See your feet tapping? I've seen worse. I just think it's kind
A
of
little bit lost.
a little bit lost. Henry, can you let somebody else come through then? Is Mary around? We tried to talk to her earlier.
Doctor.
You know what you got? Doctor? And I'm sorry, what did you just say?
Loyalty.
Loyalty. Dr. Ladd, can you tell us something specific about you? Preferably
Next year.
your code word. What is your code word?
Leave.
What you got? Leave.
Imaginable.
Any more images at all? Any numbers? Any numbers on your box?
Last thing.
Lasting.
Dr. Ladd, what's your code word? I want to verify that it's you before I start addressing you. Otherwise, we're going to move back to Henry.
Expansion.
That's not the code word. Melissa, nothing over there? Okay, back to Henry. Henry, let's Let's talk about your son. Can you tell us what holiday he was born on? What's his birthday?
No.
It just says no? Okay. Told you, he's not always happy about me being here. That makes sense to me. You want to talk about your wife instead?
Yes, I use.
Talk about your wife. Can you tell us her name? Maybe show us an image of her?
Notes. Zoe.
Her name was not Zoe. Can you tell us her name? Try again. Henry, we're past the halfway mark. We've got about 3 minutes left. We would like some more images so Abby doesn't fall asleep in there. Bar? What'd you say? I'm not going to the bar.
2 girls.
2 girls. Are you unhappy that there's 2 girls on the bench? Are you okay in there? Finish your breathing. Henry? If you'd like us to leave, tell us to leave or go home. Give us the word home. Maybe we'll oblige by it. We're just looking for verification that you're here. Right now you haven't given us much.
New Shepherds.
New shepherds.
Family Life.
Henry, can you give us another image? I was asking about your work, your wife, your son. I've asked you a lot of very personal questions. We're running out of time. I know we're only out here for 10 minutes at a time.
Call back.
We gotta know.
You gotta know. Henry?
Huge.
Henry, did you bring Dr. Ladd with you? I've got 2 no's about other things when I've asked about your family. Talk about maybe some of the
99.
talk about some of the friends you may have made since your passed. You have the word doctor. Can you tell us who that's relevant to? We'll take another image. Again, we're running out of time.
Surrounding.
Was it?
Surrounding.
Are you unhappy that there's other tours in here? I know you don't like a whole lot of crowd in here. Henry, just give us another image and we'll call it quits. We'll leave, we'll get out of your hair, we'll leave you at peace.
Soil.
Henry, we're going to wrap it up. Can you tell us good night?
What? Jesus.
Henry, another image would be fantastic. In less than a minute. Last chance. Henry going once. Going twice.
I want to be free.
There, right? Alright, let's go ahead and tap her on the leg. I think it's time to get
Stop.
and feel that up, please, Abby. Take a look at your one image that you had.